Top-ranked Ohio State heading to Wisconsin to face the Badgers. Our own Jenny Dell will be on the sideline Saturday, and she caught up with Buckeyes defensive superstar Caleb Downs earlier today.
Caleb, this defense has been one of the best in the nation, top in scoring, red zone, rushing defense. What's been the biggest key to that consistency week after week after week?
I think for our defense and for our team, it's playing with a lot of energy and emotion every game. Every time that we step on the field, not taking it for granted. So whether that's just coming out the game and feeling appreciation, and Coach P always talks about gratitude for being out there, and just trying to give everything we have every game. And if we continue to play with the right emotion and right energy, we'll continue to play well.
You mentioned Coach P there, your new defensive coordinator out there back in college for the first time in like 20 years. What is he like as a coach? How has he improved your game? Bring us inside.
I think for the most part, he teaches the game at a really high level. And being a good teacher is something that you really can't replicate. From the moment he got here, all he's talked about is we got to learn football. We got to put ourselves in a position where all 11 on the field know what everybody's doing and they understand the game that we're playing. So I feel like that's been a big change for us, just being able to know that we're learning football. We're not just, hey, you do this assignment and that's all you know. So I think that's been a big change for us. And then he's also brought a lot of knowing that your coach cares about you, knowing that your coach is invested in you outside of the game, and he asks and checks in on everybody. So when you know that somebody that you're playing for cares about you, it makes you play harder.
It seems that there's a lot of love on that team all around, and coaches just adore you as a player. They say you have an elite mind, that you think like a coach does out on the field. How do you study, prepare, process film differently than most players that you're around or most players your age?
Once I got to probably 10U, I started like watching film, watching other teams, and it's kind of just grown since I've been a child, and my dad's kind of honed in on it since I've been a kid, and allowing me to learn from the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, and just trying to see how teams are going to attack us and what they're going to try to do and how they're going to try to, find ways to move the ball against us. And that's been the biggest thing, and trying to share that with my teammates every day.
You mentioned your family there. You really do come from a true football family. Your dad, Gary, your uncle, your brother, Josh, now playing in the NFL. What's the best piece of advice one of them has given you about this life, about this game?
I would say, they all have different perspectives on it. My brother right now is kind of at the point where it's like, take care of your body. Make sure that every day you're doing something to put yourself in a better position tomorrow for the next day. My dad, more so the mental side, because there's a lot of distractions that come with off the field, and having to handle that can be a lot for players.
Mm-hmm.
And then my uncle, he played at the highest of highs. He was a really elite player in the league, and just being able to see the perspective that he has it's a real positive for me, and it gives me a perspective that not a lot of people have.
Would you say that also added into just the maturity that you have as a person, as a player? I remember your former teammate, Jack Sawyer, who is also now in the NFL. He said you felt like a seventh-year senior from the moment that you arrived. Is that where that maturity comes from?
A seventh-year senior, I don't know about that. But, yeah, I would say just being around football, being around people that play at a high level, it kind of makes you feel mature, even if you're not necessarily mature time-wise. And I've always been told since I was a kid, you have an old soul. You just act older than you are. So I guess that's where that comes from.
So this week we got a good game coming up. Ohio State at Wisconsin. Your first time at Camp Randall. What have you heard about playing there?
On our podcast, we talked about jump around. I'm excited to see between the third and fourth quarter how everything turns out, and I think it's going to be interesting. I've experienced a lot of college football, and that's going to be a new thing for me, so excited.
when you think about the game itself, what's the message to your defense just heading into this one?
Really just do your job. That's literally what we talked about yesterday for at least 15 minutes. Everybody goes out and do your job, plays with the right mindset like I talked about. You're going to get the results you want. So that's really the biggest thing. And going into a bye week, you want that type of confidence, knowing that this is what we did the last time we stepped on the field.
Caleb, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck this weekend. Have fun out there.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
That is a special kid there on the defense for Ohio State. But what are you expecting from Caleb Downs?
He's a pro's pro. And even as a freshman at Alabama, he led the team in tackles, and he's always been the same. I had a chance to interview him this summer at Big Ten Media Days, and a guy who's comfortable in his skin, and you understand why now. He shares his mentors, if you will, you know, the father, the brother, the uncle. What a nice array of leadership he's surrounded by. And then you factor in his new defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, and he's right. The best coaches are the ones that can teach, and they can put it in a language that you understand. And it's about leadership, mentorship, instruction, but it's got to be done in a way that's respectful. But you can also coach them hard, but you got to have that positive reinforcement as well.
The reason why this marriage between the Ohio State defense and Matt Patricia works so well is because exactly what you're saying. You've got somebody who's played and schemed against the best of the best at the highest level. He's got kids on his roster, on his defense now, that are already, to your point, pros are ready for the National Football League. He's not making them better football players, he's making them smarter football players. And when they already have the talent plus the mental capacity to handle, they're unstoppable, like we see.
Yeah, I loved what Caleb Downs said about Matt Patricia being a great teacher. This Matt Patricia defense is simple with the illusion of complexity. And what is done with how well he's taught this defense, the scheme, it's allowed players like Caleb Downs' instincts to really take over. When the players know the scheme, they can play fast, they can make plays on the football, they can trust their eyes and trigger when they see plays there. That's what Matt Patricia's allowed this defense to do. The X factor is their tight end, Max Claire. When you have a freshman quarterback like Julian Sayin, sometimes the best thing you can have is that reliable target who's there on third down, who can make plays down the field. Claire transferred from Purdue, was one of the best tight ends in college football when he was at Purdue, and now is really playing well in this Ohio State offense. Hasn't gotten loose down the field enough times that I'd like to see. He's got 15 catches, 175 yards, but in these critical Big Ten games and gotta have it situations, Julian Sayin's going to look for his tight end, Max Claire, and Claire's going to come up big.
Well, the great thing for Julian Sayin, not only does he have Claire, but he has those other wide receivers that can save him when the ball isn't on point. But when is it not on point? He's hitting 80% of his passes. So here's a guy that's not trying to do too much. Yes, they will call some shots down the field, but for the most part, it's intermediate passes. It's the quick outs, the flag routes, things of that nature. And he has been superb in that type of setup and that scheme and strategy. So they know what Julian Sayin is capable of doing, and he is growing into this position each and every week. The more reps, the more comfortable you get, especially when you're succeeding in the manner in which he is. And he understands, I'm on a heck of a football team. I don't have to apply all this pressure upon myself because I can turn around and hand it off. I can throw it to these superstar wide receivers and the tight end, Max Claire. So it's easy, in a sense, to play in this type of system, but you still have to have some game, and he's living up to all the hype, you know, he had prior to going to Alabama and then transferring to Ohio State.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned the run game because I know we want to talk about this defense. I know we want to talk about Julian Sayin, Jeremiah Smith, Parnell Tate, but let's talk about God's position, the running backs. God, do I know? Hold on, wait. Do I need to say it again? God's position, the running backs. First of all, when you've got a man in the backfield by the name of Bo Jackson, oh, by the way, his first name is Lamar, you know the brother can tote the mail. On top of that, C.J. Donaldson
That's a lot of pressure his folks put on him.
He's doing his part, and so is C.J. Donaldson. And in totality, so is everybody for this Ohio State team. Not just their offense, not just their defense, for this entire team. And that's what makes them so hard to beat. They're a team full of superstars. Well, guess what? Their superstars play like superstars. Yeah. Julian Saying doesn't have to. So he just stays to be Clark Kent. He don't need to be Superman. Then they've got NFL-style coaching. Matt Patricia on the defense. When you've got players like he has on the defensive side of the football with the talent that they have, it makes no sense why this is clear-cut the best team in America right now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's God's position, the tight end position, we're talking quarterback coaching. It doesn't matter, but this top team in the nation certainly living up to the hype. But as for the Badgers, head coach Luke Fickell on one of the hottest seats in the country. I want to get your thoughts about it, BJ.
Well, it's getting hot in here. It's going to get hotter. I mean, 37-0 thrashing last week at the hands of Iowa. And Luke Fickell, full transparency, he's my homeboy. We were teammates at the NFL level, and I'm pulling for him. But I don't know if he has the requisite talent on that squad. And I hope that Wisconsin has opened up the coffers from an NIL standpoint and allow him to go out and attempt to attract the type of talent he needs on campus, because it's hard when it gets cold up there in Madison to try to appeal to folks and get them to come up there and play ball. But it's a great program, and we know he can coach from what he did at Cincinnati. He took that to a whole nother level, getting them to the college football playoff, losing to your alma mater, of course, Alabama. But it's difficult right now. When you turn on the film, you just sit there and you shake your head because, one, he can't keep a quarterback healthy. Last 2 years, lost his starting quarterback, first game of the season. They can't block up front. They've gone back to more, old man football, if you will. They got a fullback. They're running ISOs. and defensively, they don't tackle. Linebackers, they are not God's favorite position right now.
Especially not in Wisconsin.
Because they are playing woefully.
They are. And to encapsulate everything that you said, when you look at this game, you just have to wonder, will this be the straw that breaks the camel's back for Luke Fickell? He's already 15-17 at Wisconsin. He's 2-3 this year. If Ohio State walks into this stadium and blows the doors off of Wisconsin, this could be the kiss of death for Luke Fickell's tenure at Wisconsin.
The issue for Luke Fickell has been a lack of identity and trajectory in this program. Whatever happened to hard-nosed Wisconsin football, where you're blowing people off the line of scrimmage, running the football downhill with fullbacks and power I formations and playing great defense? What happened to it? It has been gone in this Luke Fickell era. But the best way to shut up all the outside noise in college football is to beat the #1 ranked team in the country, the Ohio State Buckeyes. To do that, Wisconsin's got to slow this game down, control time of possession, and run the football really well.